Welcome and greetings. I'm Dr. Jamail D. Carter, President and CEO of the Kayannus Consulting Group, Incorporated, a full-service management and educational consulting practice where we assist organizations like yours align human capital with organizational strategy. We have a variety of services available to you and your team, such as executive coaching, human resources and organizational development consulting, market research, intensive boot camps such as our nonprofit formation, business growth, grant writing, fundraising, advancement, and institutional development. In addition, we offer growth circles, which are intimate groups for leaders to come together for professional development, peer encouragement, and up-to-date best practices and research. Join a growth circle today. We have circles for CEOs, entrepreneurs, pastors, executive directors, and educational leaders. This is episode 19 of the Kayannus Consulting Group's Executive Edge podcast, your source for encouragement, news, information, and commentary, all designed to assist Christian leaders and executives such as yourself thrive in both life and career. I invite you to like, follow, subscribe, comment, and share. If you like what you hear, and if you're unable to wait for our weekly podcast, I recommend you sign up for one of our alerts and receive breaking news in the worlds of higher education, nonprofits, business, entertainment, leadership, politics, health, biotech, and pharma. To do so, call our offices at 1-800-418-5350. Once again, our number 1-800-418-5350. As we always do, we're going to open up today's podcast with a devotion. I ask that you pray with me if you're able to bow your head or just meditate on the word as spoken. Dear gracious Father, we humbly and submissively come before your throne on today. Lord, I'm thankful for those that are tuning in. I ask that as we delve into your word, that you will unlock the truth to us, that we can freely grow as believers and followers of Christ. In Christ's matchless name, we seal this prayer. Amen. Jeremiah 33:3 reads, "Call upon me, and I will answer thee, and show thee great and mighty things which thou knowest not." One of the things I think is important to understand is when you're looking at what we're dealing with as a society in the midst of a global pandemic, it can really cause some unrest and some anxiety for many people. But one of the things that's important to understand and to note is that God will never forsake his people. He will continue to walk there alongside us, no matter how difficult things may appear to be. So we have to come to trust him and to seek his face. Looking at this scripture, it lets us know that we should take our problems to the Lord in prayer. And that's what's meant by those first three words where it says, call unto me. When we find ourselves in the midst of a battle, when we find ourselves in the midst of a storm, when we find ourselves unable to push forward, those are the moments and the times in which we need to call upon him and ask him for his guidance and direction and illumination, trusting that he will provide, trusting that he will protect, trusting that he will open doors that we may not see on the horizon. And so when we take our problems to the Lord, it's important that we expect that he will answer our prayers. One of the things that we do need to note is that sometimes he can answer our prayers with the word no. Just because we tell him that this is something we want does not mean that we're always going to get what we are seeking, because there is the chance that those things that we desire are outside of his will or outside of alignment with him. So we need to expect that he's going to answer. And we also need to be aware that sometimes the way he may choose to answer is not how we would have him to answer. And also what's key is that we stand by and watch God's power unfold. When we seek him, when we trust him, when we ask him to move, we need to get out of the way and allow God to do what he is capable of doing. And when we stand by, we will begin to see him move in terms of how things are to occur, in terms of how things are to unfold, and trust that he knows what's best for us. Don't assume that just because this is what we think is best is always what's best. So when we trust God and seek his face, he will always provide the best answer and solution to all our problems. I hope these truths have encouraged you. It is my prayer that you continue to grow in your relationship with your Creator. Spend time in both prayer and study daily, and watch the presence and favor of God manifest in your life. Now we're going to move into the world of business. There were quite a few stories that came out this week that I would like to highlight. BET founder Robert Johnson suggests that he will be voting against Joe Biden, stating, "I will take the devil I know over the devil I don't know." I tend to disagree with Bob Johnson's phrase here or statement, "I will take the devil I know over the devil I don't know." I believe that we do know both Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Joe Biden has 47 years in public office, and Donald Trump has been in office going on nearly 4 years. I think both of them have a record. And I'm not sure if you had an opportunity to watch the debate, that the first presidential debate that happened between the two parties. My view on the debate is neither one of those two should be anywhere near the Oval Office. It appears that when we're in campaign season, it always comes down to the lesser of two evils. But right now, I truly feel that neither one of those two will be best for the American people. Joe Biden is telling us that if we vote for him, he'll fix the problem. But we know that he has a 47-year track record of which none of these problems seem to have been addressed. He tells them, he's telling African Americans if we elect him, he's going to wipe away all racial turmoil in this nation, but fails to mention that he eulogized a KKK recruiter. So I don't think Joe Biden is deserving of my vote. And when I look at Donald Trump and the state that we are, we can all say that he is definitely someone that comes off as petty and egotistical. I recall back in 2016, I felt that whoever won, be it him or Hillary, they were going to be a one-term president. Right now, if we're looking at the polling data, it does appear that Donald Trump may be a one-term president. But definitely, I don't feel that Joe Biden is the best choice. So I do think what is needed as believers is truly to pray and ask God to bring America back in alignment with you, because there's definitely an agenda that goes contrary to Scripture that is definitely obvious. And if the people of God aren't seeking Him for guidance and direction, or humbling ourselves and praying, our nation is definitely going to be in trouble. So getting back to the founder of BET, Robert Johnson, who says he's going to go against Biden and sticking with Donald Trump because he's going to take the devil he knows over the devil he don't know. I disagree with him. I think at this point, anyone in America should be able to know Joe Biden, because as I said, he has a 47-year track record in office. And Donald Trump, yes, we have seen what he has been able to do in his short time that he has been the president of the United States. There was a partnership announced between one of America's Black-owned banks in terms of Unity National Bank and Bank of America, in which they announced a partnership that those two entities will begin to work together. I do think that this is good news Definitely, I will say it's good to see Bank of America having favorable headlines, unlike Wells Fargo, whose CEO came out and essentially said one of the most idiotic statements I've ever heard a Fortune, I guess you say 500 company CEO came out and stated, where he said that there's no qualified individuals of color for positions. I find that hard to believe. Myself, I have a doctoral degree. I have 2 master's degrees in addition to a bachelor's degree. I know various individuals similar to myself who have master's degrees, who have been very successful in various walks of life. What I think it revealed about the CEO of Wells Fargo is that he's an out of touch individual who seems to walk in a circle of individuals that may be similar to him, and he's really not out in the trenches interacting with people who are doing great things. So definitely I do commend Bank of America for their partnership with Unity National Bank, and maybe we will begin to see more funding pour into, I guess you say, economically disadvantaged neighborhoods, and maybe also we'll begin to see more loans be made available to small businesses that are owned by men and women of color. The New York State Comptroller, in a recent audit, has come out and said that up to 60% of New York City bars and restaurants could close permanently within the next 6 months. Definitely, we are seeing the impact of this pandemic. What I think we're going to find out is that we're probably going to see a boom in some red states, places that did not truly destroy their economy with draconian measures to combat COVID-19. One of the things that I have gotten on here week after week and have indicated is over 90% of the people who contract COVID recover. I think we're going to see that with the president and the first lady, which we saw this past week, have come down with COVID-19. Definitely, we know 210,000 people have died, but in a nation of over 250 million, I think it is not as bad as the media has been showcasing this disease. And I think part of the reason that they have been showcasing it this way is their belief that this was their sticking point. This is how they could get Donald Trump out of office. And so I do believe we're going to see Donald Trump out of office. And then I think they're going to try to make it seem as though all a wave of good news as a result of procedures that Biden is implementing. But I think what we're going to find out is then they're going to really start covering the fact that 90% of the people that contract COVID-19 have successfully recovered. I think this is a result of when you have individuals who do not critically think, not paying attention to hard numbers and data. I think they're susceptible and gullible to whatever the popular narrative is at that time. The movie industry and theater chains essentially received shocking news as more and more theaters are closing. Cineworld, as well as Regal, announced this week that they are going to be closing all of their U.S. theaters. So once again, we're seeing more and more businesses go out of business as a result of what has happened as a result of this COVID-19 pandemic. And John McAfee, a titan in the tech industry, you may have McAfee software on your computer, was indicted over this past week for tax evasion. And definitely it does appear those who have funds are going to do all they can to protect their funds. And it appears as though the powers that be are going to do all they can to combat people evading taxes and paying what is perceived to be their fair share. Moving into our business principle strategy or best practice recommendation this week, I really want to cover the simple selling model or process for those who may be in sales or those that may own businesses in which you have a sales staff or force out there. And I think when we really look at the sales process, it's really 4 steps when you look at it. It's prospecting or surveying the land, which can be done through cold calling, telemarketing, building rapport, and setting appointments in which you're introducing your product and your service to a potential client base, which then goes into demonstrating the benefits of your product and service and seeing how your product and service falls in line with the needs of that potential client or customer. And once you go there, it's really proposing the solution, which is how your product and service can benefit them. And ultimately, you have to close. You have to ask for the business. You have to ask for them coming into trusting that you can be the solution to their need. And that is the selling model, I guess you say, in its most simplest form. If you are in need of sales training for your sales team and your sales force to really highlight and showcase what you're able to do, the Kayannus Consulting Group has numerous sales trainers that can come in and work with your team to best highlight and showcase what you do. We can provide you and your staff with a customized solution in which we break down the sales model that can lead to increased revenue and sales for your business. For more information as to how that can be done, feel free to call our offices at 1-800-418-5350. Once again, that number, 1-800-418-5350. Your long-term success will depend on your ability to prepare and adapt quickly to a changing landscape. The current international and domestic landscapes are rapidly changing. The Kayannus Consulting Group has a team of well-trained coaches and consultants with C-suite experience that are available to assist you and your leadership team in dealing with the uncertain terrain ahead. We have membership plans designed to fit any budget and size organization. Our Platinum membership features weekly coaching along with additional perks and benefits such as Growth Circle membership, a monthly gift, an on-call human resources consultant, an on-call marketing and branding consultant, and an on-call grant writer, as well as graphic designer and monthly webinars and more. Now is not the time to hire amateurs. Bring in the experts and allow us to help bring your plan into focus. For more information and a no-fee 1-hour consultation, a $500 value, please call our offices at 1-800-418-5350. Once again, that number, 1-800-418-5350. Moving into the world of politics, there were several stories that came out this past week. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo has threatened to slash state funding to New York City if it doesn't increase efforts to tamp down on crime and clean up trash in the midst of a pandemic, even offering to send in the National Guard to help. I think what we're starting to see with Bill de Blasio and Andrew Cuomo, even though they're both Democrats, there is tension there. I think this is what you have when you have those who are middle of the road fighting the far left of their party who are extreme. And definitely as you're opening up your prisons and allowing those who have committed crimes to freely roam around the streets and creating safety risk, you're starting to see more and more people flee New York. I think Andrew Cuomo, with a big picture mindset, is starting to see how this is problematic to the state as a whole. If you're having people relocate out of your state and city, you're not having the tax benefit or the tax base needed to fund some of the programs that you need done. I think you're also starting to see this with Gavin Newsom, who's making an appeal to people who are thinking about leaving the state of California. I think they're really starting to see that you can't continue to write checks and have high taxes without it having an adverse impact. So hopefully we're going to start to see more and more adults come to the table with solutions that are going to be beneficial to all of their citizens in their cities, their states, and this nation. A Democratic Ohio State Representative and African American Bernadine Kennedy Kent has come out and endorsed the re-election of Donald Trump. So we're starting to see there are African Americans out there that are supporting Donald Trump. Not quite sure what the long-term impact is going to be. I reside in California, which is definitely a very blue state. I cannot recall the last time a Republican took this state in a presidential race. It may have been Ronald Reagan, but definitely we are seeing that there are some African-American Democrats that are breaking away from the party and endorsing Donald Trump. There appears to be a conflict of interest as Governor Gavin Newsom awarded a $35 million voter outreach contract to a Democratic consulting firm. I think what this once again reveals is the corruption that we tend to have in government, where those who control purse strings tend to send money to friends and family and acquaintances of theirs. And I think this is what we have when you have a Democratic governor awarding a $35 million outreach contract to a Democratic consulting firm. Definitely, I think it would have been fair if this contract went to a bipartisan firm or one that does not have a particular political leaning agenda. But I think what you're seeing here is what happens when you have big government protecting their own base. Biden appears to currently be outperforming Hillary Clinton's poll numbers at this point in the 2016 election. So definitely it does appear that he is a little bit more popular than what she is. But I think what it's all going to come down to is turnout. Does Biden have the turnout to get people to vote for him that did not vote for Hillary? Can he swing people that voted for Trump to vote for him? We will find out next month if this will be able to occur. I think after the first debate, more and more people probably were turned off from either of these two. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see how it is. According to the polls are telling us that Joe Biden is going to be the 46th president of the United States. We will see if the polls are going to be accurate or are they going to be wrong once again like they were in 2016. A video has once again resurfaced of Joe Biden giving the eulogy of KKK known recruiter Robert Byrd, who was a former United States senator. And many people feel that this was a result of Donald Trump, I do apologize for that, failing to come out and condemn white supremacy in the first debate, as people kept referring to the Proud Boys as a white supremacist organization, which I find kind of ironic. If you do your research, you'll come to find out that the leader of the Proud Boys appears to be an individual of color. So we have Black Lives Matter activists that are white, and now we are being told that white supremacists are people of color. Things aren't making sense in 2020, but definitely I do think we have far left as well as far right groups that seem to thrive in an environment such as what we have today, where there really appears to be no desire for people to work together in this nation. But I think the majority of Americans are in the middle, and the majority of Americans would love to see our nation go forward to the betterment of all who reside in our nation. Senator Kaine, you may remember him. He was Hillary's vice president choice in 2016. He has come out and said that the judiciary Supreme Court hearings should be live and not remote. Now, I think one needs to ask ourselves this question, because I think this makes absolutely no sense. So if Senate confirmation hearings can be live and not remote, why are we recommending that all classes be offered in a remote environment? Why are we recommending or asking that religious worship services be offered in a remote environment? It appears that every time some of these political leaders speak, they bring about more questions to be asked, as opposed to not asking questions. I think at the end of the day, what we're probably going to see, the nominee, Donald Trump's nominee, approved, and we're probably going to see the Democrats come into office and increase the number of people that can serve on the Supreme Court bench. And then we'll probably see Republicans come back into control and once again change these numbers if they can. This is a sad state of affairs that we're in, but this is what you have when you have big government that's serving itself and not the people. Moving to the Bible and your vote. This week, I want to discuss the topic of abortion. I will start with several scriptures. We'll start with Genesis 1:26, and it reads, "And God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness." Exodus 20:13, "Thou shalt not kill." Isaiah 49:15, "Can a woman forget her sucking child, that she should not have compassion on the son of her womb? Yea, they may forget, yet I will not forget thee." Jeremiah 1:5, "Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee. And I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations." Psalm 127:3, "Children are an heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward." Debates on this subject seem to always digress to philosophical questions about in what cases will you be in favor of an abortion. Let's be clear. Rape is a crime, and those that commit it should be punished to the highest level possible. Incest and child abuse and or sexual abuse are also crimes, and those that commit them should be punished to the highest levels possible. We are looking at this issue from a biblical perspective, which is the lens that all believers should look at issues. In the Bible, we read of instances in which governmental officials came up with laws in which they tried to murder and kill children. We see this around the birth of Moses. We see this with the birth of Christ. And this is one of the reasons we as believers need to fight big and uncontrolled government. At its simplest form, abortion is murder of an unborn, defenseless child. Life is precious. When we make this issue about anything but life, we fail to acknowledge what is truly happening. Life should be celebrated. Life should be valued. And one of the things I think is also important to highlight, outside of marriage, any form of sexual intercourse is sin. And many of those that seek abortions are worried about how they may be viewed by society. Many of those that are seeking abortions are placing their own ambitions above what life circumstances have brought to them. We cannot expect sinners as believers to make godly decisions based on a biblical lens if they do not know God. It is our responsibility as believers to point those in sin to the Father. They must know that He is a loving and compassionate God. They must know that He is a forgiving God and friend. They must know that He is there to assist if they call upon Him. God cares about life in all its forms, and we should too as believers. I think that's really what we need to focus in on, is the fact that God cares about life. And with this, I will end with this in terms of a personal note. When my wife was pregnant with my daughter, her physician, of course, they do these various tests, and they told us that our daughter tested positive for Down syndrome. My wife was somewhat up in age at the time that she was pregnant with my daughter. And essentially, you can see the physician was trying to pressure her into getting an abortion, trying to pressure us into getting an abortion. But we trust God. We sought Him. We prayed. We asked Him. And even if my daughter would have come out with Down syndrome, we would have loved her anyway. But the truth of the matter is, she was born and she did not have Down syndrome. In fact, just about every year, every semester, she has been on honor roll as a student. And I say this to say that we have to trust God and know that He will not put anything more on us than we can bear. Seek Him, trust Him for guidance and direction and wisdom. And don't allow your own selfish motives and agenda to dictate the decisions you make. As I stated, God cares about life in all its forms, and we as believers should as well. Understand that we're talking about essentially murder and killing. And one of the things we know, God said, "Thou shalt not kill." And we should stand against the murder of unborn, defenseless babies that are unable to speak up for themselves. Human resources and the strategic alignment of your human capital or people is important to the success of your organization. It is imperative that your team stays current and up to date on all changes in the law. Regulations and laws change regularly, and for most small business and entrepreneurs, it's hard to stay current on changes while building and maintaining a successful business. The Kayannus Consulting Group is your solution. The Kayannus Consulting Group has a team of highly trained, up-to-date human resource consultants available to assist you and your team at a moment's notice. For more information, please call our offices at 1-800-418-5350. Once again, our number 1-800-418-5350. Moving to the world of health and higher education, Kristen Evans, a student at Stephen F. Austin State University, claimed that police stormed into her dorm room after false reports were being made of her committing crimes. And this is something that happened recently this past week. And I think we see numerous false reports and when you're an African American, there are cases of this. I'm not going to get up and say that this is something that is widespread, but there are reports of people being accused of doing things that they did not commit. And we have seen this. We have seen videos of people threatening African Americans with calling the police. I'm not one to say that this is something that is widely out there, but I think in a nation of 250 million individuals, we should be aware that there are going to be bad apples and actors out there. As I already covered earlier, President Trump and the First Lady, as well as other members of the White House staff, have tested positive for COVID-19. My thoughts on this have always been my thoughts on this. Definitely, we do know that there are some people that have died from this disease, 210,000 at last count. But we also know that over 90% of those that have contracted COVID-19 have recovered. It is my expectation that President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump will recover from COVID-19. Think about it. Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of the UK, recovered from COVID-19. Other world leaders, as well as governors and mayors, have contracted COVID-19 and they have recovered. So my expectation is that the same will happen with the President of the United States. I agree with him that we should not live in fear. We should expect that our world-class physicians and healthcare system will do its job. In terms of book recommendations for this week, the one book that I would like to showcase, and this is for those who work in higher education, it's Presidential Transitions in Higher Education, Managing Leadership Change. I actually think that this is a wonderful book that kind of talks about the presidential transition and a higher education environment. I also think when you're looking at organizations in general, some of the information that you can find in this book can relate to replacing a CEO or an executive director or even a pastor in other organizations. So I think that is a very good book when it comes to highlighting the phases of leadership transition and change. In the world of nonprofits, after watching the debate, the first presidential debate, Franklin Graham came out, and he's a known Trump supporter, with the statement stating God is our only hope. I think as believers, we know that God is our only hope. And one of the things that I have said time and time again, I can care less if it's Joe Biden or Donald Trump who is elected. Understanding that I am a child of God, I will be blessed. I will be able to function without regard for whoever's in the White House, because my God shall supply all my needs. My God shall provide for me. I have done good under President Trump. I did well under Obama. But I will say it wasn't Obama or it wasn't Trump, for I know that he is Jehovah Jireh. Speaking of God, I know that he is my provider, and I know that he will continue to provide for me without regard for whoever's in the White House. Are you hitting your fundraising targets for 2020? If not, our team of highly skilled fundraising, advancement, and development consultants at the Kayannus Consulting Group can work with your team to assess your systems and assist you in developing a fundraising strategy that will get you back on track. For a no-fee consultation, please contact our offices at 1-800-418-5350. Once again, our number is 1-800-418-5350. And now moving to our coaches corner. A coach does not make decisions for you. The best coaches can listen and ask questions to help you clear the smoke and fog, preventing you from seeing a clear picture. When you can see the whole picture, you improve your chances of making sound decisions. One of the best questions a coach can ask is, how does this relate to your long-term goals? Asking this question has assisted many of my clients from avoiding problematic additions to their workload. It is okay to say no. Some people fail to reach their goals because they have allowed distractions to come and take up valuable resources. If you are unsure of the benefits of a coach and are looking to try it out, our associate plan, the Kayannus Consulting Group, is only $500 a month, and features monthly coaching. For more information or a no-fee 1-hour consultation / coaching experience, a test drive, if you will, a $500 value, please call our offices at 1-800-418-5350. Once again, that number is 1-800-418-5350. Moving on to career advice. This is something that you may have heard before, and that is that you should find a mentor. Early in your career, you will find it beneficial to have a mentor. Mentors are individuals that you can turn to for advice and reassurance. It is best that this person not be someone you report to, but someone who can offer an unbiased perspective of the issues that may be impacting you and affecting you in your career, and that can tell you how they handled similar situations that you may currently find yourself in. Has your job search stalled? Our team of talented resume writers and career coaches at the Kayannus Consulting Group may be able to assist you in breathing life into your job search. If it has been a while since your last job interview, please send your current resume to our team for an evaluation of the effectiveness of your current resume in selling your strengths. Contact our offices at 1-800-418-5350. Once again, our number, 1-800-418-5350. By way of announcements, Greater Blessings University will open up registration for their Christian Life Coaching Certificate Program, as well as their Nonprofit Leadership Certificate Program on October 19th. Both programs will start in January of 2021. And if you would like more information, you can reach out to Greater Blessings University. I hope you found this week's podcast to be informative, encouraging, and noteworthy. Once again, I invite you to like, follow, subscribe, comment, and share. Help us to get the word out. I pray that the favor of God shines upon you and your organization this week. May clients come from the east, west, north, and south. May you and your family go from blessings to greater blessings. Until next week, be blessed.